Today we're going to talk about something that's going to leave you broke and stressed if you don't plan, if you're not ready for them. Emergencies. Ain't no warnings, no countdowns, just boom. One day, life just may hit you. And if your money ain't right, you could be stuck scrambling, looking for help that may never come. The story that we're gonna go over today is about an acquaintance of mine. Back in 2020, as an only child, he lost his mom and it absolutely wrecked him. And by wrecked, I don't just mean emotionally, but financially as well. He had no savings, no emergency fund, nothing set aside for a moment like this. And he had to beg, borrow, and hope somebody would come through just to help give her a proper send-off. Fast forward to 2023, his father passed away as well. But this time, it was different. This time, he was ready. Funeral plans were in place. Emergency fund was stacked. The will was already signed. The stress of money, it wasn't even a factor. And that's the difference between struggling through a crisis and having your finances lined up before life punches you in the mouth. Now let's take the dichotomy of both time periods to understand the difference of what happened back in 2020 versus what happened in 2023. Back in 2020, my guy was living like most people do when they first start making decent amount of money, being a spendaholic, right? Shoes, clothes, eating out, little weekend trips, buying whatever looked good in the moment. He thought he had to figure out his savings sometime later. He was young, living free, without a care in the world. You talked to him about having an emergency fund and he looked at you like you was crazy. But then life flipped the script. When his mom passed away, it was sudden. Money wasn't about flexing anymore. It was about survival. Funeral costs, burial fees, bills that didn't care about his grief. He had nothing put away. No safety net, no backup plan, no emergency fund. He had to go around asking for help, setting up GoFundMes, calling different family members, trying to scrape together enough to cover the basics. He didn't even have the option to grieve properly during that time because all he could think about was the money that he did not have to show proper respects to his mother. That's that kind of stress that'll age you overnight, and it broke him down. But it made him realize money is not just about what you can buy, it's about what you can handle when life goes left, those emergencies. That moment changed everything because he made a promise at that time, never again. Now the first move, start an emergency fund. At first it was small, $20 here, $50 there, whatever he could stack at that current moment. The key though was consistency. He set up an automatic transfer so he wasn't even thinking about it. It just happened. Next, he looked up funeral plans. And trust me, nobody wants to think about that, but understand that the only thing inevitable in life besides taxes is death. And thinking about it now is better than having to deal with it later. He got with a funeral home and locked in a pre-need plan, basically a setup where everything was arranged ahead of time at today's prices, not tomorrow. Then came the insurance plan, a simple term life insurance policy that would cover financial expenses and make sure that nobody in his family would have to scramble when the time came. He wasn't rich, but he was moving different. He was moving smarter. He was moving with strategy. The same money that he used to blow on random stuff now was going towards making sure that he was never caught off guard ever again. Now fast forward to 2023 when his father passed away. This time, no panic whatsoever. No running around looking for help. No late night stresses about how to make it work. The funeral plan was already in place. The emergency fund was ready. The life insurance payout handled the rest. Instead of trying to scrape up cash or set up GoFundMes, he was able to be present, to grieve, to focus on his family instead of the money. And that's what being prepared looks like. Life will still happen, but at this time, because he was prepared it didn't take him down with it. To everybody that's watching this right now, if you do not have a plan, start today. Because the truth is, life will not wait for you, and you need to be ready. Here's what you need to do. Number 1, stack an emergency fund. Even if you're broke right now, start with something. Even if it's only $10 a week, just get into the habit of being consistent. That money should be deposited into a high yield savings account, so it's not just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, losing its value due to inflation. But ensure that you keep this account separate, out of sight, out of mind. Step number 2, set up a funeral plan now, not later. Pre-need funeral plans lock in cost early, so your family ain't left figuring it out. Term life insurance is cheap and covers way more than just burial expenses. Final expense insurance is for covering funeral and medical bills when the time comes. And finally, step 3, plan for the unexpected, because the unexpected will always happen. Keep 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up in case of an emergency. Make sure that your family knows where your money is and how to access it in case something happens to you. And consider setting up a will and a trust for yourself as well as your loved ones, so that there's no confusion if something was to happen. Now, my guy didn't share this story for any sympathy from anybody. He shared it because too many people are walking around thinking that they have time. They're thinking, I'll just save it for later. They think, I'll just get insurance when I'm older, when my health is on the decline. They think I'll figure it out when it happens. But all of these thoughts are not strategic. They don't involve planning. And if you do not plan, then you plan to fail. And it's how you could end up broke when life comes knocking. Emergencies do not care about your plans. Death doesn't care about your bank account. You either have the money when you need it or you don't. And if you don't have an emergency fund, again, start today. And if you don't have a plan for your funeral expenses or have a will, especially if you have a family, look into it right now. Because when that moment comes, you do not want to be grieving and broke, or your loved ones to be going through that. Drop a comment below. Do you guys currently have an active emergency fund? And if not, what's stopping you? Let's talk about it. And if you like these discussions, then you'll love my men's self-development community. There's going to be a link down in the description box down below. It'll be the wisest investment that you will ever make this year. Click that link, beam up, and come connect with the Brotherhood. And if you made it this far, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe, because these are the money lessons that nobody else is teaching. Stay ready, my G's, so you never have to get ready. I'm out.